Hannah, we have reached the quarter of the century.
We have.
Which is terrifying for a variety of reasons.
Yes.
The fact that it's been 25 years since 2000 is in itself daunting.
Yes.
19 years since Troy and Gabriella sang together.
That fateful day.
New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
But something that I want to bring up, because I keep seeing ads for it, and I just don't know why this is being pushed now. But have you seen, either in stores or ads, for full body deodorant?
Yes.
Okay. I do not understand what is the point of full body deodorant. Like, why would I buy specifically a spray to spray over my entire body? And it's like broadcast is like, use it when you work out, use it when you do this,
right.
Use it at work. And I'm like, why? Is this just not a way to get people to spend more money into like trying to make themselves wear all body deodorant? Like, especially the one I don't get is the working out. Like,
yeah.
If you're working out, the expectation is that you're going to get sweaty to an extent. And I don't see why I would need to wear a full body deodorant.
Right.
But I'm just curious what your perspective is. Because I keep getting ads for it and I keep seeing it everywhere. And I'm like, why now? Like, why is this now the big, like... because it was no aluminum deodorant. That was the whole thing. Like, oh, aluminum's going to give you cancer. Go aluminum free. But now it's like full body deodorant spray.
Yeah, it strikes me as a bit weird. I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna work out and you're gonna just put on normal deodorant, like, you're probably still gonna sweat and you're still gonna, like, maybe smell a bit gross when you're done, but that's just kind of part of working out. And, like, I've never, like, gone to a gym and been like, oh, that person's sweaty and smells a little bad. That's disgusting.
Yeah, nasty.
No, everyone in the gym smells gross. Like, the whole gym just smells bad.
That's just how it is.
Right. So I'm trying to imagine a situation where I would full spray myself with deodorant. And also, like, the spray deodorant does not work.
I've tried spray, like, underarm deodorant, like, once, just because I was like, why not? And I didn't like it.
No, I tried a spray deodorant and it, like, literally did nothing. Like, I might as well have sprayed myself with Pam, like, baking oil, because it did nothing. I just think it's one of those things that I think was just made more for a money, like, attempt, and people like... One thing I know about, like, this generation, our generation too, and, like, the younger generations, is they like new things.
Yeah.
They like new ideas, they like new concepts. Right.
You heard of the lip flip?
Yeah. Yes. So,
I keep getting ads for people talking about lip flips, and I'm like, is this a sign you want me to get a lip flip?
Right. It's a sign.
Am I at that age?
You are at that age.
I'm not doing it, but...
But yeah, I just think that there's this new hype when new stuff comes out. Like when the Stanley Cups came out, and it was like people lost their goddamn minds.
Yeah.
Over a cup.
Yes. I thought you were talking about the Stanley Cup, and I'm
no,
like,
no,
what
no,
are you talking
like
about?
The Stanley Cups that came out,
yes.
and there's
Which,
like...
to be fair, they weren't even new. It was just people decided
but like
Stanley
that's what I'm
Cups
saying.
were,
Like this stuff becomes like on social media, and people
it's
lose
like
their minds.
when Carhartt became really popular, and I'm like, I've been wearing it for work.
So I don't know. I guess I respect them for being like, we're gonna just put this out and see. But also, I'm trying to imagine like.
I just feel like in a way it's like shaming people, like shame on you for being smelly, and I'm like, are we good?
Right, and like the main parts of deodorant are for smell, but also for sweat, and I don't know that like spraying my body down with a spray deodorant is gonna make me not sweat.
Yes, because I will say, so as someone who started getting back into running a little bit this summer, I found sweat-resistant bug spray because some of my places I ran were in the woods, and I was like, there's a chance I'm going to get sprayed by bugs. So I was like looking, because I'm like, do they make like sweaty bug spray, And they did, and I did try it, but I don't feel like it. I don't know. It's hard to tell if it worked or not, right? Where I'm like, is this actually working, or am I just like running so I'm not getting eaten up by bugs? Right. But it just was like, I feel like it's not really staying on.
Yeah, and like sweat-resistant sunscreen I've tried because I have to put sunscreen on, otherwise I burn horribly. Yeah. And the face sunscreen, like when I sweat, it just gets in my eyes and it's a bad time. And I've tried like the sweat-resistant sunscreen. I'm like, I don't really know that it really works that well. Or water-resistant sunscreen.
Yeah, to an extent.
Yeah, I guess sort of. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm like, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know. I'm kind of just confused by the whole prospect. Like, do you truly spray it everywhere?
That's what I'm like. I'm like, are we doing full body? Like, how much spray do you have to go through?
Like, we're spraying it on
your arms, legs, face, neck, back, butt,
pussy, crack.
Are
we spraying all that?
Feet? Like, okay, here's the thing. Feet, I get. Yes. I totally get. If you want to spray your feet, good for you.
But they they make separate products.
They do.
As someone who has separate sweaty hands, sweaty palms.
Yeah. They make
Yes.
But I'm like, and that I get, like, yeah, that makes sense. But it's like, how many bottles are you gonna have to go through if you're spraying your whole, like, let's say you're somebody who works out 3 days a week, right? You're going to the gym, working up a sweat. So you're spraying your full body at least 3 days a week.
If not more.
Plus not, like, are you using deodorant on top of the full body spray? Are you using the full body spray to also spray under?
Right, because then is it even saving you money if you're not... Yeah. If you're not going to use it every day for your daily thing, which, that's going to go through, because I buy spray sunscreen, and I go through a can of that so quickly in the summer.
You can go through that super... Yeah,
when you're spraying your whole body.
Yeah, at times when I previously have worked a lot outside, you go through spray quickly.
Or if you're, like, wearing a bikini all summer, and you have to, like, spray everything. Like, I don't know. I don't see... If the point of it is to... Is
that Cash or Carl?
Carl.
It's Carl Coy.
If the point of it is to reduce, like, you having to buy, like, let's say you buy deodorant for, like, your armpits, and then you buy, like, they make, like, deodorant / like, stuff for, like, your feet, like you said. Like, they make specific stuff for that. They also make, like, I've seen ones they do for, like, your downstairs area.
Your pits and bits.
Yeah, your pits and your bits. And so, like... Maybe that's the point, but also I can't imagine myself just spraying myself and not, like... I can't imagine using a deodorant that's... I think the problem is this. They make certain deodorants for different parts of your body for specific reasons. And I think by just making one deodorant that they're claiming is going to work for your whole body, I do feel like that kind of... maybe defeats the purpose and, like, maybe doesn't make it as effective as it would if you were just using deodorant that's made specifically for, like, your armpits or for your feet or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, 2025 is going to be the year of... I feel like 2025, this is going to sound weird, but it's going to be very sweaty. One, because of climate change. 2, because I just am a sweaty person.
Yeah.
I will not buy full body deodorant.
Okay, I was gonna say I'm not doing it for science.
No, we're not doing it for the podcast.
No, I won't do it.
And I promise you, I will try my best not to get a lip flip. Can't make any promises.
Great.
Yep.
But I would say, if anyone out there listening to this has tried full body deodorant and has any comments on it, please let us know. We want to know from the source, somebody who's done it. If you're doing it, I just want to know: does it work? Do you like it? How much does it cost? I just want to know. I just want the facts.
Are your pits, clits, and bits feeling fresh?
That's what we want to know. That's what we want to know. Go fresh into 2025.
No pictures, but we do want to know.
Yeah, please. As always, no feet pics.
No feet pics, but we would love to know how those feet are feeling.
No private pics. We don't want any of that. No. We just want to know. Just write a statement, you know? You can write to us.
We'll read it live on air, and we won't say your name.
We actually will. We'll do it... Then anytime if anyone sends us anything, we will react to it. We'll research it and we'll react, and we will not repeat.
Nope.
Right. To 2025.
To sweat.
To sweat.
2025. This is Research Rank Repeat.
So loud.
The child is excited about 2025. This is Research Rank Repeat. This is co-host Hannah.
This is co-host Alyssa. I'm just going to put a little disclaimer, and Hannah can cut this if she gets rid of it all, but there is a neighbor of mine, a screaming child, is screaming very loudly right now, and I just don't want to alarm anybody that, like, I don't have a screaming child near me. It's a neighbor. This happens. Just, just so you're all aware.
That's what she wants you to think. Her child's locked in the closet right now. No, I'm kidding.
Just keeps getting louder, so...
Okay.
And you can cut this if you want. I just want to have it out there in
That's
case
fine.
It's noticeable, like behind me talking kind of deal.
Okay.
Since you can't cut that. But.
Okay. This is Research Rank Repeat. This is co-host Hannah.
This is co-host Alyssa.
And we are...
In 2025.
Zapping and zatting
Yapping.
into 2025.
Could do yapping.
Yapping.
Be on trend. Yapping.
Yeah, we are yapping to 2025.
Yeah, this is our 4-year anniversary.
Yeah, we
Small golf claps.
popped open some champagne, celebrated a new year a few days ago.
We did.
Cheers to what we hoped will be an okay year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm not going in with high expectations, but I am, like, there are things to look forward to.
Yes.
This year.
Yeah, things to look forward to. 2024 was a year.
Mm-hmm.
Some highs, some lows. Came out of 2024 a lot poorer than I have been in a while. Due to just a little side note for anyone who has a pet. Consider pet insurance, because I did not. Well, I considered it and then I didn't get it, and then I ended up dropping
a lot
of money on a cat who turns out just probably has tummy issues.
He's got some little tummy issues.
Little cat IBS. So poor, a bit more hardened into what our next 4 years might look like as a country.
Yeah.
But we've got some exciting podcasts.
Personal highs.
Yeah, personal highs. We got some
Personal
exciting
highs.
podcast stuff coming up.
Yeah.
And we just we're gonna celebrate last year podcast.
As you know, Hannah, tomorrow is our 4-year anniversary.
Yes.
January 6th.
The day our podcast was supposed to come out.
2021.
And we were going to announce it to everyone, and then a different announcement came out.
Sure did.
If you don't live in America, you can look that up, but you probably heard about it.
Almost like it doesn't matter. Almost like it didn't happen.
Anyways, so,
Surprise.
Little deja vu.
But we're here. We're in
here.
2025.
We're here. I'm queer.
I'm not.
Alyssa's not queer, but she supports the
But
queers.
I am here.
She is here.
Not
queer.
I am here.
And we're just, we're going to do our year in review.
Yeah.
We have our cowboy hats.
Yes. So if you've never listened to any of our year in review extravaganzas, we like to go through our year, the past year. I should specify the past year, which would be 2024. Go over some statistics from our episodes, some favorites, some highs, lows, anything we want to talk about really in I don't know what the word I'm looking for is right now. It's gone. In like, I don't know. Fuck it. There's like a word like, like when you like, go over the past, like, and I can't think
ruminate?
of the word. Not ruminate.
Oh.
We're not cattle. It's like reviewing, but it's like a not professional word for that. Yeah, like recapping our year. Yes, okay. Thank you. I was like, there's a word I'm looking for, and it was like review, and I'm like, no, that's not it. Recap our year, go over some things, talk about it, and and it's fun. And we do have our cowboy hats on. We got them for Toy Story due to our first episode being Pixar, and our first movie being. Howdy, partner. There's a snake in my boots.
There's a snake in my boots.
And we've worn it every year since, and it's made a return.
Yeah.
Mine broke long ago.
Mine's still going strong.
The strap.
I have like 5 of them here, so.
Yeah, you have the extra ones. I forget. I should pick up a new one to replace my ratted, broken one.
Yeah. When we started this podcast, peak pandemic time,
2020. Technically, we released our first episode 2021. It was supposed to be January 6th, 2021.
But when we started this podcast in 2020, I don't think either one of us thought we would be here in 2025.
I didn't think so.
Still speaking.
We talked about this last year, and you were pessimistic, and I was optimistic, and I believed, and you didn't.
I think that I didn't believe in myself.
Okay.
I was having a rough go.
That's fair.
Rough go with things.
That's fair.
And we had come off kind of like a rough year. Podcast-wise, like motivation-wise.
Yes. In 2020, you mean 22 or 23? Both technically.
Kind of both.
In different ways.
In different ways. Yeah.
In different ways.
But yeah, so I think, it's just, it's, I don't know. It's interesting that we're still here recording these episodes.
Yeah. I think to me, the way I see it is as long as we still enjoy doing this, I still see it happening in some amount. Like we'll get to it this year, but we actually had quite a bit more episodes this year than we had the previous year, comparatively to our last year, which we had more output, but we also our recording schedule was a bit different, and our output of what we put out was a bit different than some of our past years as well, which I think is interesting, and we'll get to that. But I think, for me, it's as long as we enjoy doing it and do episodes we like, which is something we learned when we used to do weekly episodes, which is still insane to me that we put out an episode a week for a full year, and part of it next year, is that there were episodes we didn't really enjoy doing, and we just did it because we had to put something out for the week. And not doing that, I think, was very helpful.
Yeah.
And being able to schedule around our own lives and figure out what things we want to do, I think makes it easier.
Yeah.
So yeah, as long as we got things to look forward to, I'll want to keep doing it.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. And we have a lot of continuous episodes that I still look forward to, new things coming out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think overall it was a more manageable year.
Yeah. We also introduced a new type of episode called the research break.
Yes.
Which we could do more with, and I have some ideas for some episodes in the not right away, but in the future. And those are a little bit easier because we don't really edit those. We just kind of have to put out listen for any weird spots, and if we had to take a break or something and cut those out. But pretty much there's unedited stream of thought stuff, and that's kind of fun. Yeah. So that was a new thing this year that we had.
Yeah, I think also too, I think we both were looking for a way to do an episode less structured, but also a way to talk about things that we wanted to discuss without having to do a full ranking on them.
Right.
And I think that was something we had discussed in years prior, was being able to have different conversations or touch different topics that we maybe just don't want to commit to doing a full ranking episode to. And I don't know, I think it gave us a different way to be able to pick topics we wanted to pick and to discuss things. And so I think I enjoy at least having the option to do them.
Right.
Yeah.
Being able to use that if we want to.
Right.
Kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. All right. Would we like to start with our Podbean, our podcast host stats, or would you like to go first with Spotify stats? Who would like to go first? Doesn't matter to me. I know previously we've done you second after me, but
I will go first.
We can mix it up.
Yeah. Let's go over some Spotify stuff. We've mentioned this in the past. The reason we specifically just get Spotify is most of our listeners come from there, and
not this year.
Well, not this year, but in the past, a lot of listeners have come from Spotify.
Every year previously, yes.
Yeah, Apple Podcast doesn't really do. Spotify does a Spotify Wrapped for podcasts, like they do if you use them for music, so that's kind of just easy to pull data from. Apple Podcast doesn't really do something like that, and we have other sources we use too. But we're just going to do Spotify, and I do have one Apple Podcast thing to mention.
Okay, great.
Okay, so Spotify for 2024, our listeners went up by 20%, which was cool.
Nice.
Our followers went up by 5%. So thank you.
We have followers?
We do have followers.
Oh.
Thank you to all those who followed us.
Huh.
66% of our listeners discovered us this year.
Really?
Which I think was really cool.
I have an idea why.
Yeah.
We can get to it after you do your stats. Or if you want me to...
Well, would you like to just do it now? Because
I think it's the Avatar episodes.
That's true. We did get probably quite a different pool of people. Mm-hmm. And all those Avatar episodes did generally pretty well.
Yeah, and we'll get to that when we do some of our other stats.
Okay. Yeah. Our top episode, which is kind of interesting, was Fall Foods Taste Like Ass.
Really?
Which I put 4 question marks after because that episode came out in 2022.
On Spotify?
That was our top episode of this year.
Why?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. That's so weird because I like, I do the our top episodes of the year stats and I didn't even see that on the list.
At least on Spotify.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it must have been just like a really high proportion on Spotify.
People like things that say ass. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay.
Anyways, so I thought that was interesting. So in terms of, it breaks down our listeners by age. Okay. Our 43% of our age group, which isn't really surprising, is 25 to 29-year-olds.
No.
25% is 35 to 44-year-olds.
Okay. 16%
is 18 to 24-year-olds. And 16% was also 30 to 34-year-olds.
Okay. That's weird that the 30 to 34-year-olds is like the lowest.
It must just be like not as many people, maybe. It's not that interesting that that's our most listened.
I have a question. Sorry to cut you off. Why is there one age group that's only 4%, like 4 years? That's really weird too.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't question.
I think that makes sense now that I think about it. Why the percentage should be low if that's
I don't question how Spotify does.
Okay, that's fine. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
So our listeners aged 18 through 24 grew the most since the previous year. So we're really molding the minds of the youth, which is a scary thought.
I think it's the Avatar. I'm feeling that's where it's
okay. 94.9% female. 5.1% male. There is an option for like don't want to say or like non-specified.
Okay, or like non-binary.
Yeah, and there was no one had picked that option.
Okay.
Or I think it's when you do your Spotify profile. I don't really know.
We talked about this last year.
We did.
I don't even know you could set a gender or
I don't
choose that.
Anyways, so that's what it was. Our top country, would you like to take a guess?
It's usually the United States.
Yeah, it is.
But, yeah.
It's followed by Switzerland and the UK.
Interesting.
Our youngest listeners are from the UK. So, hello to all those lassies and lads out there.
God, Hannah, no.
I'm just offending them.
Don't offend the youth of the UK.
I'm sorry. Our oldest listeners are from the US. Hello to all you...
You old bastards.
You old bags and bastards. Okay. Ooh. Okay, so this is something cool that they've done in recent years where they say, give you, based off your listeners, what else they also listen to.
Okay.
So these were podcasts. So the 5 most listened to are Jack Mate's Happy Hour, which I've never heard of.
Mate's Happy Hour. Okay, I've never heard
Also
of it.
Podcast.
Okay.
The On-Call Room, a Grey's Anatomy podcast, which I know.
That you?
That's probably me.
I was like, that's probably you.
The Toast.
The Toast?
And the PFF NFL podcast, which I've heard of, I've never listened to, so we must have some people who like the NFL.
You know what's funny is, like, sometimes I'll listen to parts of our episodes just to make sure they, like, load correctly.
Right.
Or, like, in reference, like, sometimes episodes like these where I'm trying to reference a previous episode or, like, our multi-parts. And I have not listened to any of those episodes, so I'm surprised that I was not included in, like... That means enough people are listening to us that I'm not, like, a person of, like, here's what Alyssa listens to.
Right.
So I guess that's nice.
Yeah. The only one I've ever listened to is the On-Call Room. Which, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that one had other people, because that's a pretty big, like, it got pretty popular.
Grey's Anatomy
is a pretty big show.
Yeah.
So, in terms of music they listened to, it didn't give percentages, but the top 3, country, indie, which I'm sure I'm part of that, and dark pop.
Dark pop.
Which I'm not really sure if that means, like, pop punk, or if it's just, like, I don't know. was called Dark Pop. They also gave
oh god,
audiobook genres. Oh. These ones were listed.
Smut.
No. I wish. No, number 1 was self-help. I said, what does this say about us that most of our listeners also listen to self-help?
You know what? Good for them.
They're good. They're
good for you,
they're
listeners.
Working on themselves.
Get that self-help.
Number 2 was sci-fi and fantasy.
Okay.
Number 3 is biography and memoirs.
Okay. You know what? Well-rounded.
Yeah.
You know, we got a variety. I respect it.
75% of our audience watched videos on Spotify this year, which I didn't know that was really an option.
I didn't either.
Unless they mean, like, the videos that play, like, behind the music sometimes. I don't know.
Okay. I will choose to like, I pretend like I know what that means.
They gave us a creator personality, which they usually give you personality for your own Spotify. Our personality was the storyteller.
Surprise.
Yeah. Our podcast rating was 5 stars, so thank you to all of our people who've rated our podcast.
Thank you.
And the only Apple Podcast stat that I pulled is our top 4 cities. They break it down by cities. And I would like you to try and guess what you think a couple of them might be. I will give you
top
a hint.
4 cities.
Two of the cities are in Michigan.
Okay.
Yes.
Top 4 cities. So based on, like, what I know from our stats, where we get a lot of listens from, I want to say, like, LA or somewhere in California.
No. California. Nope.
Okay, no California.
There is a West Coast city.
Okay, so there's, like, we get a lot of Oregon listens and Washington, so maybe Seattle?
Yes, Seattle is number 4.
Okay, I was saying those are the 3 states. Like, we tend to get a lot of listens on the West Coast just in general.
There's
so
also
Seattle.
a city on the East Coast.
Okay. I feel like North Carolina, we tend to get some listens there. New York City.
Yes.
Okay.
We're big in the big city.
Okay.
New York City was number 2.
The Big Apple? The big city?
The Big Apple, the big city. Same thing. So number 1 and 3 are both Michigan cities.
Okay. I feel like Detroit.
Yes. Detroit's number 1.
Makes sense. That just makes sense. Yeah.
And number 3.
Would it be Kalamazoo?
No.
Grand Rapids?
No.
East Lansing?
Lansing.
Okay.
Yeah. So top 4, Detroit, New York City, Lansing, and Seattle. I thought it's interesting that they do cities because Spotify does not break down really by cities. It gives you countries. Mm-hmm. So I thought, that's cool. Makes sense 2 of them are in Michigan, and love that we have influence on the East and the West Coast.
Yeah, and also, I guess because I don't listen on Apple Podcasts, so that makes sense, where I'm like, the city I live in was not
that's
influenced.
Apple, which I also don't use Apple Podcasts, so...
Yeah, so...
We're Spotify girls.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is our kind of more of our social media, not social media, listening source stats.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Now we can get to some Podbean stats.
Yes.
So I pretty much keep the same structure from year to year, and I have for like pretty much every year. I keep the same structure, and I just add new information, and I'll just for some of the stuff I have like the previous year's numbers, but not for everything. So I'm just gonna say that now. But as per usual, we're gonna start with our states data. Mm-hmm. So Hannah, how many states do you think we are now claimed of the United States?
We were at like 40 something last year?
Yes.
I'm gonna guess 45.
46.
Hell yeah.
We have 4 states left to claim. I'll tell you what the new... So 46. So last year we had 43 states. So we got 3 new ones.
Okay.
The 3 new states we got is Alaska.
Hell yeah. Which
I have a friend who moved to Alaska last year. And so if he is the person, shout out to that friend for getting us Alaska. I'm not sure. I'm going to assume.
Yes.
Because he's aware that there's a podcast. So maybe. Montana, which who knows. And Rhode Island, the smallest state.
Nice.
I know a lot about Rhode Island. It was I did a state presentation on it. It's with the first carousel was built in the United States was built in Rhode Island.
Maybe someone on the carousel listened to our podcast.
Maybe. I don't even know if that carousel still exists anymore. I just know that was
probably a carousel in Rhode Island.
That was just one of my facts on my poster about Rhode Island. But what do you think the 4 states are that we're missing? If you had to
know
guess.
Hawaii.
We have Hawaii.
Oh.
We got Hawaii previously.
Did we? Okay.
We did. We got it in, I think it was last year. We got like a listen in Hawaii.
So 4 states we don't have.
We also have DC, so 4 states.
I would guess somewhere in the middle of America. I'm going to guess like Oklahoma.
I just realized I didn't have that pulled up really quick. 1 minute. To know. I have like a rough idea, but I want to make sure I'm actually getting the right 4. Oh, that's country. That's not what I want. Oopsie. States. Okay. Let me pull that up really quick. Okay. Sorry. What state did you say?
Oklahoma.
No, we have Oklahoma.
Oh.
I'll tell you, they are spread out to 3 different areas of the United States. So 2 are in one area, 1 is in one area, and 1's in another area of different regions. So 3 different regions.
What about like South Dakota?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
South Dakota. That's one of them.
North Dakota?
We got North Dakota.
Okay.
Just South Dakota.
South Dakota.
So that's one of the regions.
Yeah.
There's one there. So you got that one.
Okay. I'm going to guess...
I'll just tell you 2 East Coast.
Yeah, I know there's East Coast. Delaware?
Yeah. No. We got Delaware.
Interesting. Okay.
I have more information about Delaware later.
I think we have Virginia already.
We do.
Okay. I'm going to say Connecticut?
Got Connecticut. You've been to one of these states.
Maine? No, we have Maine.
Yes. Nope, we don't
have Maine. Okay.
Never had got Maine. So Maine's one of them.
This is going to take forever. I don't know.
That's fine. Vermont.
Okay.
And New Mexico.
Interesting. Okay.
Those are our 4 missing states. So, if you're out there in those states, please give us a listen.
Well, they won't be listening.
I know they won't be listening, but if you know anyone who lives in those states,
yeah,
maybe be like, hey, you want to check out this podcast that I know?
Yeah.
We'd appreciate it, because we're trying to conquer the United States and the world.
Yeah.
And the only way we can do that is if we get listens in all those states. So we've claimed 92% of the U.S.
I'm happy with that.
92%. That's pretty good. Not counting territories. We're just going to, we'd love the listens in territories, but that's part of the 50 nifty United States from 13 original colonies is what we're looking for.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have steadily increased our states. We still have not increased on states, which I think is...
Right, we keep getting new states, which is cool.
Until we get to 50. So we've had an increase of roughly 3 or so a year since 2021, which is nice.
Yeah.
So, all the previous years, I should say, and last year included, we had a percentage of listens that were from an undisclosed source in the US, either people using a VPN or just couldn't locate their listen to a state. Right. But for some reason, those stats aren't included anymore. Okay. So I have no idea the percentage of people who listened from another state. Okay. Or who states unidentified, but were US based. So I don't know. That I have no idea. Who knows? I don't know why they stopped including that, but also wasn't for countries as well. They got rid of that for both states and countries. So don't know why Podbean did that, but we're missing those stats. But we have our top 5 states took up 77.46% of our listens all came from these 5 states. And I will say, very different list, or slightly different list than last year. Some of the states are the same, but as per usual, what do you think our number 1 state was?
Michigan.
Yep. It's always been Michigan. I just see that being the case. Makes sense.
Yeah.
We're here for it. So number 2, this state was previously on a list, but not last year. We have California. So California came back into the top 5.
Cool.
Our 3rd state, and I brought this up earlier, is Delaware.
Interesting.
Weirdly, Delaware.
I don't know anyone who lives in Delaware.
Yeah, I don't either, so I don't know. But we had quite a... Delaware and California were pretty close together in the same amount of listens. Number 4 is Virginia. Virginia out here getting listens. And number 5 is Oregon, which was number 4 on our list last year. It was re-entered the top list. So our list from last year was Michigan, Washington, Indiana, Oregon, and New York. So we actually did not have that much of a...
Right.
Same states from year to year, which I always think is interesting because I think the same thing happened last year where it wasn't really the same top 5 states. Yeah. So that's fun. Yeah, the difference between... I got this wrong. It was between Michigan and California. The difference between Michigan and California was 3 episodes.
Interesting. Okay.
So they were 3 episodes apart.
Interesting.
0.38% different. I did note that down. So
nice.
Interesting stuff. Going into our countries. So this year we have had listens in total 66 countries.
Nice.
That's over 1/3 of the world.
Yeah.
So we now have 33.8% of countries claimed.
We're going to dominate.
Still getting 6 out of 7 continents. We still haven't gotten Antarctica yet. But it was an increase of 7 countries from last year. Last year we had 59. This year we had 66.
Nice.
I thought I would just list our new countries. Because
Okay.
some were surprising and some I was like, we really hadn't gotten a listen from there yet.
Yeah.
So, our new countries include Bangladesh,
Okay.
Romania.
Okay.
Now, this one is a bit weird. So, China is now listed. Because previously we had gotten listens from Hong Kong and like from Singapore, but not like China proper.
Okay.
Now that China like proper, and I don't really know how they go about distributing where those listens are from, but China is now on our list. Dominican Republic, Croatia, Iceland, which that one is surprising, and Sri Lanka. So kind of all over the world, you know?
Yeah.
We got a couple different continents in there.
Cool.
Our top 5 countries accounted for 91.83% of all of our listens, which was an increase from last year.
Nice.
What do you think our top country was?
Probably U.S.
Yes, that is correct. And that's been the same every year.
Yeah, we've always had U.S., yeah.
Now, our country list also was a bit of a shakeup.
Okay.
So number 2 was Singapore.
Interesting. Okay.
Number 2, Singapore. Previously, that was the United Kingdom, and then Mexico the year before. Number 3, and this one was also weird, is Togo. Country of Togo in Africa.
Interesting.
That was also previously Germany and Brazil. Number 4 is Brazil,
Okay.
which we had seen on the list previously.
Yeah.
Last year it was Hong Kong was in that position. And number 5 was Canada.
Interesting.
Last year that was India in that spot. So we kind of had a little bit of shake-up in the countries.
Cool.
So then the other thing we like to do with countries is to list our most listened to country from each continent.
Right.
So North America is United States. It's always the United States. Europe this year was Germany. So that was our most listened to. Over the UK as well, which usually it's always the UK.
The UK, yeah.
South America was Brazil again. Okay. So last year it was Uruguay. This year it's Brazil again. Asia was Singapore.
Yep.
Previously had been Hong Kong and Japan. And then Africa was Togo, which had previously been Egypt the year before.
Cool.
So, now this is where it gets really interesting, Hannah.
Okay.
Our top 5 most downloaded episodes of 2024.
Okay.
So, it finally happened, Hannah.
No Lady Gaga?
No Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga got dethroned. It's the first year ever she was not on our year's most downloaded episodes list.
Yeah.
I will say, that episode, number 9. 9th most listened to episode of the year.
Okay.
But, she's been number 1 every year.
Right.
Like, all years.
Yeah.
I was, shocked. I was like, it finally happened. It only took 4 years.
Yeah. Nice.
So we had, and this is a stat I think is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We had 88% higher downloads this year than we did compared to last year.
Okay.
So our downloads increased 88% from the previous year.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
If that says anything, it was very interesting to me to hear that. We also, our listens from this year accounted for 33% of our total listens. So 1/3 of all of our listens come from just exclusively this year.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
that was also nice. So we had an increase in listens from
right
this year compared to last year.
Interesting. Okay.
So the other thing that's really fun is every episode on our top 5 most listened to episode list was released in 2024.
Cool.
Which that's never happened before either.
No, because usually we have Lady Gaga.
Yes, and other episodes like our
ABC
CSI
Family
Miami,
and,
ABC Family.
Yeah.
So I want you to guess, what do you think our most listened to episode of this year was?
Well, I know the Avatar research breaks. I know a couple of those are some of the highest. I'm assuming a couple of those are in the top 5.
Yeah, our top 3 episodes are our Avatar.
Yeah, I knew they did
research break episodes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we had episode 1 was our most listened to episode.
Okay.
Then our intro.
Okay.
And then episode 4 check-in.
Interesting.
So those were our top 3.
Yeah.
And they were all really close together. Like 2.1, 2%, 1.96%.
Okay.
And another interesting fact is all of our top 5 episodes, each preceding episode, so from 1 to 2, it was 1 download lower, all the way down. It was all just 1 down, so like 1 down from there, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, which was really interesting. I was like, oh, that's cool. And none of them were the same. It was no overlapping, like, same amount.
Yeah.
Episode 4 was our Studio Ghibli Part 4, Dated and Baited.
Okay.
So that one snuck in.
That one came out at the beginning of the year.
It did. I think it was our second episode released at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, it was after the Extravaganza one, yep.
And number 5, which was fun, our 100th episode.
Nice.
Number 5. Got in there, snuck in there. So last year, I'll just give what our list looked like last year. So we had Lady Gaga was our number 1 most listened to. Then our Studio Ghibli Part 1, CSI Miami, Hannah Gets Fooled Again, March Madness, and then Studio Ghibli Part 2. So very different list from last year.
Yeah.
So I had one other weird episode, and I don't know why it snuck in this year, but our 6th most listened to episode was State Motto's Some Piatch for My Biatch, which is an episode that came out in 2021.
Yeah, I remember seeing that it had more downloads, and I was kind of confused.
And I have absolutely no idea how that snuck in so high, because it was never one of our most listened to episodes of 2021 at any point previously. So I don't know if people are just searching for State Mottos or what's going on, but that one almost snuck into our top 5, and I thought that was very strange. I was like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
What are you doing?
All right, and so now we're going to move on to our top 5 most downloaded episodes of all time. So we're looking at our total numbers, and this, Hannah, is no different. It is the same order as last year, but the percentages are different.
Okay.
So Lady Gaga, it was last year 13%, and now it's down to 9%.
Okay.
TV Pilots, ABC Family, was at 4%. Now it's down to 2.8%.
Okay.
CSI Miami, Hannah Gets Fooled Again, went from 3.2 to 2.47. I should specify, these are the percentages of total listens. So the amount of people who have listened to these episodes, like the percentage compared to the total amount of like listens. So Aberline Bite Me went from 3.1 to 2.4%. And Pixar Part 1, Bros Before Bows, went from 2% to 1.74%.
Okay.
So one of the trends I noticed looking at our episodes is there was not any dominating episode of the year. Like in 2024, it was more of an even spread across all of our episodes, like all episodes, as opposed to like a couple episodes getting more listens than the other, which I thought was really weird or interesting, because it's very different to our previous trends. We usually have a couple episodes that get way more listens than anything else, and then like a kind of consistent number. But this year it was much more even, where it was like older episodes were getting listens, newer episodes were getting listens, and not like one episode was like way above the rest. So I thought that was an interesting trend for this year as well.
Yeah.
All right, our most popular months. By far and away, our most popular month was October. I don't know why, but October, then November, January, September, and May.
Okay.
Our listening sources. So this year we had 17 different total listening sources. In this one, it did tell us that 7.43% of listens came from an unknown source. So it's not through any like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any of the browsers or anything like that. This year was very different from our previous year's list. So normally Spotify dominates our listens, but this year it did not. Our top spot was Google Chrome.
Okay.
So 22% of listens came from Google Chrome. Then number 2 was LAV, L-A-V-F.
Yeah.
LAV, 17%. Then Spotify was number 3 with 15%.
Okay.
Edge, which I assume is Microsoft Edge, the browser, 10%. And then Apple Podcasts came in with a 9.86%.
Okay.
So last year, and all of our previous years, pretty much had Spotify up near 50%, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, Google Chrome, and last year we had Stitcher in our 5th spot. But like the percentages were very more condensed and closer together than we saw in previous years. So I did some research, wink, wink, about LAVF, L-A-V-F, because I was like, what the fuck is this?
Oh, I've heard of it before, yeah.
And so I did some research, and I went to Reddit, because now Google sucks. AI just, like, has made search engines sucky right now. So I found a comment on Reddit that talked about what it is, and it's basically a FFmpeg software that basically is used through TuneIn, which is a free radio podcast audiobook site where you can, like, search for free stuff and, like, listen to it through there. And what I discovered is that if somebody goes to that site and something is not there, they can request, in our instance, our podcast can be requested to be added to this site, TuneIn, and then a bot or some type of program will then download all episodes from our podcast and then put them on that site. And so I think that's what happened in October, because we had one day where every single episode was downloaded.
Yeah, I did see that.
And so I assume that's what that means is somebody, I don't know who, probably the person in Togo maybe, I don't know, or Singapore, wanted our podcast and had through that site, every episode of ours was downloaded. So I thought that was very interesting. Yeah. Because I was like, what the fuck is this site and why is it number 2? But yeah, so Spotify dropped number 3. Not dominant this year.
Yeah.
Sorry, Spotify.
Sucks to
So, I got a few more things.
Okay.
And then we'll move on to a little bit of YouTube, just because I think it's interesting. We, this year, reached a total of 119 episodes. That includes a couple mini-sodes, like a trailer, a few smaller stuff, but our total's over 100. This year, we also released 19 episodes. So, it was more than last year. Definitely not as much as previous years, but we had all of our episodes from this year combined reached a total of 1,391 minutes, which is equal to about 23 hours and 14 minutes. So we almost reached a day of content this year.
Nice.
Which is exciting.
I love that.
To compare to some of our previous years, so 2021, our first year, when we were doing weekly episodes, we had 53 hours. 2022, we had 25 hours. 2023, we had 18.5 hours. And then this year went back up to closer to our 2022 number. In total, Hannah, our total number of hours, because I want to do the calculation, is 119.68 hours, which is equal to 4.98 days. Nice. We have almost 5 days of content, which is a lot. Yeah. So if you have a 5-day road trip, put us on. You got 5 days worth of content right there. That's crazy that we passed over 100 hours this year.
Yeah.
Which I thought was, I think, an accomplishment. 100 hours of content.
Yeah.
All right, and the last thing I have for episodes timing is our longest episode of 2024 was our 100th episode, which came in at 2 hours and 18 minutes, which I believe is also our longest episode ever.
Yeah.
Which is fitting for 100th. You know, you got to go big or go home.
We went big.
We had 2 episodes that were over 2 hours, and that was this and our Disney Channel Pilots episode.
Yes.
Which those tend to be long anyway. So, not surprising. Some little episode facts. We had 2 guests this year, which was an increase of 2 from last year. We had no guests in 2023. So, 2024, we got 2 guests in there. We had 1 episode dedicated to music, 6 to TV, 7 to movies, 1 to taste testing, and 4 to miscellaneous. We also had 5 episodes of our research break show. So 4 of those were Avatar, talking about the live-action Avatar television show, and 1 was talking about the show True Detective Night Country. So, to go to YouTube, I have a few quick, just small things there because the stats, we don't have, like, enough views to get, like, full-form stats on a lot of the stuff we can in other podcasts, like Spotify, as you could in, like, in Spotify or Podbean. But we have an increase in subscribers. Instead of last year, we had 1 subscriber. How many do you think we have this year, Hannah?
2.
It's 2. 2 subscribers.
Yeah.
We doubled. We still also only have 1 comment that is, where am I? Which I love that. I'm a big fan of that comment. So something different I did earlier this year, I think it was in November or October I did this. I went and updated our Podbean site so that way we added every episode of our podcast to our YouTube page.
Yep.
So previously we just were having our newest episodes being added to YouTube as we uploaded them, but I wanted to go back and add everything. So we have like a podcast, you can do like a podcast playlist on YouTube now. So we have all of our episodes that are out are in this podcast playlist. So, just so you are aware, they're all up there. Some people like that format because you can get like closed captioning or other such features that are not available on like some of the other podcast hosting sites. So we just wanted to add another space for people to listen to it. Plus, I just like the stats on YouTube and the interesting things there. In total, we had 14 hours watched of videos. So I thought that was surprising to that many. And our most viewed video is actually our newest Christmas episode that just came out like 10 days ago or something. Christmas movies. That's our most viewed episode. So fun. Now I pulled up our YouTube page because I talked a little bit with this Hannah previously, but I just kind of wanted to talk about what some of our like traffic source is because I find that to be really interesting. So it can show us what people searched for and what came up when they clicked on our video. So for our traffic source, here's what some of the people typed into YouTube and what was given was some episode of our podcast. So American Girl Dolls, Avril Lavigne, Fast and the Furious 2, Girls Gone Wild, Lindsay Lohan, Mamma Mia, Studio Ghibli, Avatar The Last Airbender, Netflix. But some of the ones I thought were interesting is someone typed in burp ASMR, which I believe probably brought up our Bubbly, our Waterloo episodes about Hannah throwing up. Because there was a lot of burping in that. Somebody typed in perfumes, and I'm assuming got our candle episode is what I guess makes the most sense. We have Taurus, Gemini, Cusp. Yeah. You know, which maybe was our zodiac signs. And my favorite one is someone just typed in what the fuck. Yeah. And somehow got to an episode of ours. So, I mean, you know?
Why not?
Now, for the most part, like, it gives you the average view duration. So when people clicked on the videos, how long did they watch for? So the average view duration. And most of them are low. They're like, you know, like 20 seconds, a minute, 20, 4 minutes. But we did, for Avril Lavigne, somebody watched 32 minutes of Avril Lavigne. The average, so somebody out there sat and actually watched that video all the way through. So props to you, whoever you are, Avril Lavigne listener. Yeah. Wanted to listen to our takes. So fan of that. The other thing I wanted to also talk about is our suggested videos. So, you know, when you are on YouTube, you watch a video and then it'll show you your suggested videos. And so it shows us like how people discover our podcast. Like what are the videos they were watching that one of our videos popped up. So, here are some of the ones that were most influential to our podcast episodes. And I'm just going with our last 90 days to make it a little bit easier, since that's within the span of time of when like all of our episodes got uploaded. So our highest one is a video called I Can't Get Married Like This, Cliffhanger Proposals, the K-Drama Show. So K-Dramas. Law and Crime's Black Swan Murder, episode 1, Wondery Plus. So some type of true crime. A film in Italian that I can't pronounce, so I'm just gonna, skip that one. But it's like Titanic 2, action 2010 full movie in English. So I'm like, how are some of these, like, showing up?
Yeah, it's very odd.
Like, some of them, like, make sense. A tribute to Paul Walker. Like, that makes sense, right? Because we did Fast and the Furious. But some of these, I'm like, what are we doing here? How is this? Degrassi The Next Generation gave us one.
Hell yeah.
Like Book Talks, Avatar 3, Fire and Ash, but not Avatar The Last Airbender, Avatar The Blue People. Right. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Like some of these I'm just like, what are we doing? So Renesmee is cut out of Bella's scene. Like some of them are just like, what
we did have our Twilight one, so that kind of.
But I do just think it's funny that it's just like, here is everything that you that we're gonna give your podcast for. Yep. And to this date, still, Hannah, have you ever been recommended our podcast through your recommended videos?
No.
Okay, me either. I'm waiting for the day. I hope it will happen one day. I'm waiting for it. Eventually it will happen, but. We'll let you know. I'll let you know, like, if it happens, I will keep track of, like, what I was watching that made it come up. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so anyway, those are our stats from this year.
Nice.
As always, I just like to do that because it's fun to kind of see what changes from year to year and what's different and where we're getting listens to, because we appreciate everyone who listens to us, even if it's 2 seconds on a YouTube video, you know? The fact that you clicked means a lot.
Does mean a lot to us. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of videos I don't click on when I'm on YouTube. I'm just like, what the fuck is that? I'm not clicking on that.
Yeah, it's weird.
So I appreciate it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Appreciate the stats. All right. So, like every year, we rank our favorite episodes from that past year. So we ended up doing a top 7 this year.
We did.
We figured because we had like 19 episodes, 7 was a fair number.
Yeah. And number 7 here.
Yeah. And I did not have any honorable mentions for worst. I don't think any of our episodes qualified as a worst episode.
I don't think so either.
No.
I think also because we've really leaned into, like, only doing things we're interested in, it means that we don't really have, like, what I would consider a bad episode.
James Bond.
Yeah, that one sucks. It's a bad one.
Yeah. So anyways, I do have an honorable mention for top.
Okay.
I would like to give an honorable mention to both of our Lindsay Lohan episodes. So Irish Wish and Our Little Secret.
Hannah, I would also like to give an honorable mention to our 2 Lindsay Lohan episodes. That's funny.
I think I think I can look at them and say, like, both of the content for these episodes were not maybe the best movies. Yeah. But I think they're just fun to do. Anything with Lindsay Lohan I'm excited about. And they were both, like, fun movies where we could have some, like, humor moments and just, like, lighthearted watches. And I just, I liked both those episodes. I liked doing both those episodes, so I just wanted to give a shout out.
I would 100% agree with everything you just said, where, like, making these lists are kind of hard because it's like you're judging yourself. And while I liked those episodes and I thought they were fun, I was like, you know, it's, like, not my favorite, like, top 7, but I do enjoy doing the Lindsay Lohan episodes just because I like seeing what she's up to, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Number 7, I wanted to give a shout out to our research break episodes. I think it's cool to have a different format to do these podcasts, and I also had the distinct experience
honor of not being in an episode
of listening to an episode that I was not in. And that was the True Detective with Alyssa and multiple returns to the podcast guest Tara.
Yes.
And I thought it was interesting to listen, and I kept waiting for myself to speak, and I was like, nope, I'm not in this one. And it was interesting. It's not really I hadn't seen the current season that you guys were discussing, but I thought it was interesting to hear, like, you guys talk about it and, like, have a different person on the podcast. So, I just think it's a cool concept, and I like that we added that, something new this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, number 7, I have Variety Hour Part 4.
Okay.
I always really enjoy our Variety Hours. They're always fun. I like that they're kind of, like, they're not really structured in a specific way where we, like, have to, you know, follow certain formatting. We just kind of have, like, things that we like doing, like the quick summaries, and the new one we had done this year was letterbox reviews for movies based off books. So we had done, like, we do, like, very specific stuff. But they're always fun because I feel like the formatting allows for some, like, topics we necessarily wouldn't cover on the show to be covered. And they're always just fun, and, like, we do them once a year, so it's kind of like a nice free-form episode.
Yeah. Number 6, I went with Pixar's Inside Out 2. I really like the conversations we've had that have come out of watching both Inside Outs. I think because they have to do with, like, mental health, and I think it's something that we don't necessarily talk a lot about on the podcast, but when we get the opportunity to, I always really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it was just, like, fun to see a new Pixar movie in theaters. We both cried. Shocker.
Yeah, shock.
The lady next to us cried. Like, it was just, you know. And, I just think, like, it's fun to go to the movie theaters, and I just enjoyed the conversation we had from that movie.
Yeah. That episode did not make my list, but I do enjoy our movie theater episodes a lot. And the Inside Out one was also fun. Again, I feel like it's always hard ranking myself because I'm like, I like all the episodes, too, you know, except the ones I don't like, which is James Bond. But it's really hard to be like, oh, do I like this one more? So, number 6, I did Disney Channel Pilots, Let Lizzie Fuck. So this episode, we were actually going to do a year ago, and then if you remember, the writer's strike happened, which meant that we had to delay it like a full year. And so I thought it was really fun to bring back, like, doing the pilots episodes are always really fun, and we hadn't done one in a long time, so it was really nice to get back into that, and to also do, like, Disney Channel live action shows, which were something that we, like, watched a lot in our youth. So it was really nice, and I like the format of, like, looking at things we watched in our past and also things we didn't watch, so we can kind of have a multi-perspective on some of those types of shows. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Always fun.
Number 5, I'm with Studio Ghibli, The Boy and the Heron. Mostly because this was the first Studio Ghibli movie we've ever got to see in theaters.
Yeah.
And I think that's really exciting because this was something that we sort of grew up with and something that we've covered in detail, but seeing it in theaters was like a different experience. It was cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I really enjoyed the experience of going to see it. I also think like it was fun to do a continuation when we spent so much time doing like the original Studio Ghibli. I think it was cool to add on like a continuation one. Yeah. And I think we had a good conversation about it. I think this one I rank more for the experience that we got to have from it.
Yeah, I agree. So number 5, I have our Avatar research break episodes, just collectively all 4 episodes, because I couldn't really like pick. I didn't think one was necessarily better than the others. I really enjoyed, even though the show itself was maybe not the best, I really enjoyed getting to kind of do a similar format to what we had done with Legend of Korra, where we could kind of talk about it in pieces. Like we did like an episode before we watched it, and then like could kind of decide when we wanted to break up the show into and kind of cover a television show. And I really enjoyed being able to kind of do a different format. I think it allowed for different types of conversations that we maybe don't necessarily do to the extent we do them, because like we don't have like the way the research or like the ranking formula works is we don't necessarily have like a ton of time to like cover more specifically like themes and plots and things like that in like television and movies and whatnot. So I really enjoyed having that, and I'm sure there's something that'll be coming out this year that we'll want to do that for again. So I'm glad that we have that format and that it worked and was successful, just like if you look at the numbers. So.
All right, number 4, I have The Songs of the Summer, The Girls Have Gone Wild, which definitely came out in the summer, not the last day of the year, or
definitely
close
didn't come
last
out
New
Year's Eve.
Yeah, I just think Songs of the Summer to me are so much fun. I really enjoy getting to hear new music. I enjoy like just there's always songs we hate, which I enjoy having a hate list and a worst ranking, usually Morgan Wallen as of recently.
Yeah.
I just think they're fun to do, discover new music. Music was kind of how we started this whole podcast. That was like our original thing. We've talked about this before, but that's kind of how we got into it. And so I just think, I don't know, it's always fun to go back to kind of those roots and do something like that. So
yeah, I would agree. I did not put that on my list, but I always really enjoy the Song of the Summer episodes. They're always fun for me to do because I usually do a lot of the like setting up the playlist and things. So it's fun to kind of like look and be like, what? Like, why is this here this week? And I enjoy that. So number 4, I have the Research Break True Detective Night Country. I was hesitant to bring this up, wanting to do this episode, because I know, knowing that you don't watch the show,
yes,
and don't necessarily have an interest in it, and knowing that like I was already gonna plan to talk to friend of the podcast Tara about this show, as she is one of the only people I know who actively was like, we watched it together, you know, the previous seasons, and have an interest in it. And so when you said you were fine with it, I was like, oh, that's exciting. And I was like really looking forward to it. And I thought we had a really good talk. I really enjoyed getting to just kind of like discuss a season of a show and kind of go over our thoughts, and like, cause it's kind of like a bit of a mystery. So you can kind of like theory craft in a way. And I thought it was really fun and it was really entertaining. And I would like to do more of them. And I know you potentially have one planned.
Yeah.
That does not involve me, which I'm excited for, because I would like you to also have an episode, kind of like what you said, where I can listen to what you're saying, right, and not necessarily have that like kind of same perspective of like having watched that show. So.
Yeah. Number 3, I went with our 100th episode. I think for both of us, it was kind of a cool experience to, one, we kind of went through and picked our favorite episodes of all time, which we haven't done before. I think, 2, just getting to celebrate, like, that victory. Like,
yeah.
I don't think when we started, we necessarily thought we would get 100 episodes.
Yeah.
It sort of just started as, like, a boredom pandemic project. And I think it was cool to, like, be able to just, like, celebrate both of us and, like, the fact that we had gotten through 100 episodes and stuff like that. So I don't know. I thought it was a cool episode. And we also did, like, a lot of mini segments to, like speed ranking, and we ranked Pixar movie posters, like, doing a lot of the stuff we do in, like, smaller segments, which was fun too.
Yeah. I also have the 100th episode as number 3. So we had one match so far. It felt very, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I felt very accomplished. Yeah. Like, being able to put out, like, an 100th episode felt like very accomplished, rewarded. I think it felt really rewarding to be able to do that. And I thought it was fun to, kind of get to do, like, different segments and, like, rank all of our episodes that we've ever put out. I thought that was definitely, while challenging, was really fun to kind of reflect back on all of our previous episodes and to kind of think about, like, what do I like best about, like, episodes that are my favorite, and that kind of, like, helps think about episodes in the future.
Yeah.
But it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. That being our longest episode, I know it was a bitch for Hannah to edit that, so thanks for taking the L on that one, being our longest episode. So, but I really enjoyed it, and it was really nice that we got to have that achievement for this podcast, because if we make it to 200, we'll go even bigger. 4 hour
If
episode.
we make it to 200, we will. I got to be careful about what I say we'll do, because we will.
I think it'd be fun to have, like, segments with previous, like,
we'll bring on guests.
Some of our previous guests.
We'll I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine. We'll just do that.
We got some time. We're only at 119, so there's some time.
Yeah. Okay. Number 2, I have Disney Channel pilots, Let Lizzie Fuck. I love pilots. I think they're so much fun. Like Alyssa said, we hadn't done one in a while. Disney Channel is something that, like, both holds a special place in our hearts, our childhood hearts. I love doing the writing the summaries, and that's where that came from. And I have a really fun time watching the pilots, especially shows that I haven't, like, these shows I hadn't seen in a really long time, or I haven't seen some of them. I just think it's fun to do, and I always enjoy that one.
Yeah. Number 2, I have March Madness. I love March Madness. It's always so fun. It's my favorite recurring, like, yearly episode that we do. I think it's just because it's silly. It's like you're ranking mascots, like, and not on, like, what you think is the best. And it's also fun because it changes every year, because the brackets are not always the same year to year. So even though you're getting the same, like, mascots, they're not always in the same kind of order, which leads to different outcomes. Because I think we've had different winners every year we've done it, collectively between all of us. Or I guess you and me, because there's not a third person doing it. But I don't know, the formatting's really fun. It's just, like, it's just silly. I think that's, like, one of the episodes I like, because it's just, like, it's just fun.
Yeah.
We don't take it too seriously.
No. It's my number 1. March Madness, Mascot Mayhem 3. It's just, like Alyssa said, I have so much fun putting them together. Alyssa always adds comments from previous years. I go through, if I have to find new mascots, I go through and find their pictures, and, like, every year we see Gideon, we're just like, ugh.
Gideon.
Please, St. Mary's, fall apart this year. I don't know how you're doing, but please suck, because we don't want to do another year of Gideon.
Stuff you down there, yeah.
I find it fun. I find it's so different than most of everything we do, the format, and I just think, I don't know. I just think there's something really fun about it. I literally look forward to March Madness every year.
I do
Not
too.
even because of the tournament, but because I'm like, what fucking mascots are there going to be?
Who we got? Who's
like,
the new
we
one
got
this
like
year? Yeah.
we got like 2.5 months, and I'm just like ready. I'm getting, my fingers are ready to find some pictures, and like I'm ready.
Add some comments. Yeah.
But I really enjoy it. So
I think it's just like that one. I think it works because it's only once a year.
Yeah.
It changes every year.
Yep.
And it's just like, we both really enjoy it. I think that's what helps too, is like, sure, we have, like, we usually now have gotten to a point where we enjoy it, but sometimes it's like someone might enjoy it more than another person.
I think we collectively enjoy it about the same amount. Collectively
love our March Madness episodes.
Well, yeah, like, I get into it.
I know, I'm like excited. Well, considering, I would say the amount of like, sometimes the way I look at an episode is like, how much extra work are we putting into it? You know, like Songs of Summer, I like going through and getting the lists of songs and putting that together and looking at how they charting changes and stuff. I enjoy doing that. But we both contribute to it. Like, initially, it was just you getting, you know, the pictures and setting up the brackets, but then I wanted to start adding, like, what we had said about previous things, like comments we'd made, so we could reference those, like, from our previous years. So it feels very collaborative.
It definitely does.
Sense. Yeah. All right, my number one episode is Studio Ghibli. So I thought about specifically, so in this year we put out our part 4, Boy and the Heron, and our ranking episode. And so I like collectively, I would put it as number 1, but if I had to pick one episode, it would probably be the ranking specifically. I think because that was such a large, exhaustive process. Like, again, I think we mentioned it last year that we had started recording in 2022 and we didn't finish getting all our episodes out until halfway through 2024. I think like May was when the ranking episode came out. And it just was like a very long undertaking, but felt kind of like similar to 100, where it felt very rewarding to be able to get to the end and rank, 24, I think it was 24 in the end movies from the studio, and have a guest on as well. Because we had never had a guest on like that type of an episode before.
Definitely not.
So that was definitely like interesting and fun to be able to add someone to like that type of project. So I really enjoy that. It's hard to do that type of those type of episodes, considering we've only done Pixar and Studio Ghibli. And by doing, I think, 2 of them, it makes us, like, we think about, like, for future types of projects like that, how we would go about it differently. And, like, there's some ideas. Probably I wouldn't expect anything this year, maybe until, like, the end of the year, if we figure out how we want to do some of the larger scale stuff. But I think those are always very rewarding. So, and I'm happy that we were able to get that out.
Yeah.
And how it turned out.
Yeah. I think we had pretty kind of similar lists. I mean,
I think there's overlap.
Yeah.
I'll
just run through. I had Research Breaks, Research Breaks, Pixar Inside Out 2, Studio Ghibli, The Boy and the Heron, Songs of the Summer, The 100th, Disney Channel Pilots, and March Madness.
And then I had number 7 was our Variety Hour Part 4, Disney Channel Pilots, Research Breaks for our Avatar episodes, Research Breaks for True Detective Night Country, The 100th, March Madness, and then Studio Ghibli episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we have quite a bit planned.
Yeah, this year.
There's an interesting mix of stuff we have planned, so it should be a fun year.
I told Hannah that this isn't our next episode that'll be coming out in January. I've been really excited about, and it was something that I wanted to do last year. And it's kind of a mix of 2 things, I would say.
Yeah.
2 of the things we generally tend to do on this podcast. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I think it'll hopefully go well.
Yeah, we will see.
But you can look forward to more episodes this year. I think our general plan is to do roughly 2 episodes a month. Yeah. So 2 a month. That might change, as vacations and people get busy and stuff. But right. That's our general plan. So expect roughly 2 a month. We'll be back this year with more fun episodes.
Yeah.
And probably more guests, too. Ideally, I'd like to get some more guests on.
Which we have planned.
We got some plans, so.
Yeah. We have our Instagram. We have our Letterboxd account. We have an email, r3podcast@gmail.com. Again, if you've worn full-body deodorant, please let us know. We would love to hear your
I need to know.
Yeah. We will be back soon with a new episode.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
We would like to thank Joseph McDade for our intro music. He provides free music available for all kinds of creative use. The song that we used is called Sunrise Expedition, and you can find it and his other music on his website, josephmcdade.com. If you would like to reach us, you can email us at r3podcasts@gmail.com. That's R, the number 3, podcasts@gmail.com. Or you can find us on Instagram by searching Research Rank Repeat.
Alright, I'm gonna eat this Mento and then we could do a clap probably.